The Agarthan story encompasses many, many different stories within one. And a story that's not explained very well on any level is the Tower of Babel. The avenue that's mentioned in there is that the languages were confused for a reason, according to the story that's told. And when you understand that the God of the Bible is an Elohim, it's not a single being. But obviously within clans, because I believe the Elohim was a group of gods, within those clans, one of them who was taking that part over wasn't too happy with the progress or didn't like the general consensus of everybody, so he decided, oh, well, let's go and confuse the languages. But I have a different theory on that. I think that the confused languages are the different clans, these 12, for example, 12 different clans, who actually spoke different languages, and they got together to build this Tower of Babel. The thing is, what is a Tower of Babel? There's no actual clear distinction or no clear picture. Oh, well, we said it so far back. But what I'm going to do is I've written down some notes here because of the vast area I'm going to cover. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and share the screen here. Let's see how do I get this? Let's see all right. Section, share screen. Okay, share screens. Right. Now, I still want to share your screen. Okay, can you see my screen there?
Not yet.
Okay, start. Anything there?
Yeah, it's coming now. Yeah, now I can.
Okay, so when we have a look at the Tower of Babel, can you see where my mouse is moving?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the typical accepted idea of the Tower of Babel. We've also got this concept. Somebody drew this concept out a little while later. We've got this other one that runs over here that sort of spirals out. I like the spiral system. We've got, here's a more modern type of building or effect. And then you've got this one. This has looks like your Mesopotamian, or you'll find in some ancient rock structures that some of the ancient peoples built. They built, and this looks similar to that type of rock structure. And again, it spirals. The spiral is very important. Now, when we look at this Tower of Babel, we don't actually understand what it is. We understand they were trying to build up and connect with God. They wanted to reach God in the sky. I want to have a look at other possibilities as to what the Tower of Babel actually represents. And then I want to look at this. And again, you can see the similarity here. Let's take, let's see, we'll go through, all right, let's go through any of these. You can see these are around, let's choose this one, and we'll move then into these guys. These are the Buddhas. I don't know if you've seen this mountain with a whole lot of Buddhas. Some of them are exposed, but Buddhas are sitting in each of these domes, these bells. Let's see if I can get other pictures that we can actually show. Okay, I'm not going to go through that. If you'll just edit here so we can just try and keep this as short as possible. Yeah. Anyway, we've got the Buddhas where they're sitting inside here. And then you have to start questioning to yourself, what is this bell or this dome, this Tower of Babel? Is there a correlation between these guys? I then want to move into, no, not that one yet. Let's see. All right. When you look at the Tower of Babel, if you go to this one where it's got the various rings, the spiral that moves up, you will realize that it's got different layers. It doesn't matter which sort of Tower of Babel you're looking at. You can go to one of these first two and you'll see that it's always got these layers. And the question is, what are these layers? I want to try and move over where, if you have a look, these must hold some sort of energy. We assume that the Tower of Babel was a physical structure, but I would like to propose that it's something beyond the physical, that it wasn't necessarily a hard three-dimensional physical thing that they built, but something else. We can look at Stonehenge. Now, I want to have a look at this picture with a nice spiral or the energy system around it. Either that one or that one. And then you start questioning to yourself, do all of these different artifacts, these different structures that the ancients built, we know there's energy structures, but we're not sure what energy structures. So you asked me a while ago, does Stonehenge, is it a vortex? And yeah, you can start seeing different guys are showing there's an energy field. You can move on to this picture where you can see that it would then form, this is now from a bird's eye view, it would form, I wonder how many other people actually know the torus that surrounds the human. This is it from a bird's eye view. And then I want to go into the pyramid. If you look at the pyramid, we assume a pyramid is, they've told us it's a physical tomb for the pharaohs, or it's a tomb or burial chamber for queens. But there's been no evidence on some of these, like the Pyramid of Giza, the large Pyramid of Giza, that it actually was a tomb. If you look at this picture, you can actually see there's an actual energy system going on in there. Now, this energy system is no different than this energy system, either that one or that one. So in actual fact, when we're looking at these energy systems, we now start asking ourselves what actually is going on. Why or what are these all about? But the layers in which it increases, in which it rises, that brings us to these guys. Now, in particular, I'm interested in this, what they call the ziggurat or the stepped pyramid. Now, these ziggurats have anywhere between 5 and 9 different layers. So there's different reasons they'll have different numbers. I appear to be jumping at the moment. The system will come together shortly as to why. I'm trying to put everything together maybe a little too quickly for this talk, but I'm trying to show it here. If we have a look and we realize that this gives this energy system, whether it's a pyramid, whether it's a rotunda, it's all got this energy spiral system, and even the Stonehenge has a spiral or an energy system, a vortex, if you want to call it. We tend to view things always from an external level because we've never actually been inside. Yet, if we had to go climb into these Buddhas, what sort of thing would they see? It doesn't matter whether it's a round rotunda or whether it's a square one. The point is, even if you have a look at that, even if you look at this pyramid here, even if it's a square one, you will still get not right to the border, but you will still get a spiral running out. And then I want you to see that this is now what we understand as a vortex or a wormhole. And there you can actually see they're calling it a black hole.
Yeah.
It's all the same thing. So when you go to these guys and you start questioning, what were these Buddhas, what are they doing in these domes? What's happening? You look at the Tower of Babel, and then we see, but it's a vortex. And we start seeing, but on the external, we just see the strange structure that we cannot understand. However, if you start looking at this, you've got to start questioning, are we actually looking at this from the inside now?
Yes. Yeah.
Then, as you know, so it doesn't matter whether it's a round system, as in the Stonehenge, whether you've got the big pyramid, of Cheops, the pyramid, the Great Pyramid of Giza, square, round, doesn't matter. They all form vortices. We know they're energy points. They sit on energy nodes. We know that. The ziggurat, we look at this and we do not understand what it is. But again, what's the difference between the pyramid in Giza doing its spiral and these famous Mayan, Aztec ziggurats throughout the world, different places, all forming this? And we always just see the external, but nobody is taking us into the internal world.
Wow. Yeah. So people say inside the Pyramid of Giza there's a chamber where you can feel energy flowing through you.
All three chambers have got energy.
And what was said about the Tower of Babel? Is it that it was a gateway? What was said about it? It reached the heavens or something?
Yeah, they wanted to reach the heavens. They were going to build us because they wanted to reach the heavens.
It obviously didn't go above the clouds like that, but you know what they meant was to travel above the heavens. Yeah.
Well, you see, this is the thing. We assume that, you see, everybody assumes it's a physical structure that was going to be built. They claim the base of it was 3 miles wide. But when you start digging a bit into this, you'll realize that that's a fictional story. That's not true. It doesn't need to be that big because we're assuming it's a physical structure. However, if I'm showing you that it forms a vortex or a wormhole, well, it doesn't need to be that large.
So can structures be built to make vortices, or is it placed there on top of a vortex?
It's placed on a vortex, and that I'm going to get into as well. I'll explain that. Okay, I'll explain that shortly. Let's have a look at these ziggurats. Now, generally, a ziggurat has got the different layers, different steps. And again, remember in the first video I was describing that we've got the 12 clans that come together. Well, whether you divide them into their key players or their key elements, you can take either a 5-step pyramid, an 8-step pyramid, a 9-step pyramid, and give different guys different realms on which they will run, which they will manage. So when you look in Agartha, the main city in Agartha, called Shambhala, is built on a sacred lake. It then has a valley in the center of it, and on that sacred lake is what they call the Crystal Palace. Now, this Crystal Palace, again, you have to start questioning why crystal. You have to start asking yourself these questions. There's this Crystal Palace. It's known in the Tibetan philosophy as Mount Meru. That is also a step pyramid. You go look at any of the Tibetan drawings that they have, and you've got the step pyramid. And it's known as a crystal palace, which tells you it's made of crystal. Okay, it has other things, but the point is it's crystal. Crystal, we know, holds energy. Now, if each of these different clans, let's just call them let's not try and put all 12. Let's just make it simple. Let's just give a clan for beginning. Let's just give a clan. They're gonna rule one layer or one step or one level, and we've got the different levels. Then we start realizing that each one, as an individual, cannot control this vortex, this energy source, this wormhole, this Stargate on their own. It has to be worked as a clan, as an entire group of all peoples together. No one person rules this. And this is where we get confused, and we've been lied to and conned, that we think that we should not form friendships, alliances, unions with other people. But yet, if you'll have a look at these different steps, you'll realize that different, let's call it hierarchies, but not a hierarchy as in a lower hierarchy to a higher, the topmost hierarchy, but rather that Each one had a different role to play. Without one, the entire structure couldn't work. So when we look at Agartha and we look at this system, what is ironic is when you start realizing that Christianity has got a big role play in world politics, you look at your main religions in the world and you start questioning, well, do each of them play a role? Because they hold our modern day mythologies. Modern religions hold our modern day mythologies. So then you could also say to yourself, okay, so do different religions in today's terms rule these pyramids? Why have they not, why are these controlled, and why are these national monuments? There's a reason that they are just showing us from the outside, but you need to see they are layered. They have got different people who control or handle or manage different layers. I'm going to take you through, let's see, this is from that. Let's go. Okay. No, let's not go there. Okay, let's go back to this one. Andrew, if you'll just edit this when we get there.
Yeah.
Okay. When you look at this pyramid, the stepped pyramid, let's imagine the Christians rule one layer. Let's imagine another religion rules another layer. Another religion rules another layer. And as a group, remember right in the first video, I said the whole point is not to isolate yourself, but to take the different arts, the different sciences, and combine as many of them together as possible. Only that way are you going to find the answers. Kept separate, and they all teach. In one of the 10 Commandments of the Christian Bible, it teaches that we mustn't fraternize with other religions. However, what if you look at this picture, which is this vortex here, you consider your ziggurat over here, which you can now imagine there's a vortex running inside, and you look at this picture. Then you have to start asking yourself, what do these guys hold as a key instrument, as a key theory, as a key aspect to these vortices? Have they got something that we don't know? We think it's a religion and we get so tied into that it's dogmas. They doing this and they are different. However, what if we consider that Christianity, all the different religions, together with the Muslims, if we combine them, the theory, I'm not saying we must now go and embrace other philosophies. I'm simply saying let's look at their key factors and question what is going on. Is there any validity? I mean, look at that picture and look at that picture. And look at that circle. Why the circle? Why are they assembled in the circle? Here's the valley as we're talking Agartha. The valley, the sacred lake on which it's built. Is this just a piece? Are we actually looking at this guy? So the thing is, we taught to fight or not accept these other guys. When you look at the foundation of Christianity, the foundation of Christianity is to the bottom line. When you look at, you get rid of all the dogmas. The bottom line of Christianity is to love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, mind, and soul. So then you realize the basis, the foundation of Christianity is to connect with a higher being. You go to the Muslim faith, Islam. They're very hygienic. The foundation of their religion is hygienic. So you question, well, what's hygiene got to do with vortices? However, if you understand that washing of your feet, washing of your hands, washing of your face before you go into these mosques, into these different temples, if you realize that the washing is another word for purification, which in actual fact is another word for raising your consciousness, you'll start realizing we're not talking about physical things. we're starting to talk about consciousness, which I've talked about. The whole aim of everything through what I'm talking about is to raise your consciousness, which takes us to this. We're going to raise our consciousness. Is that all right so far? Have you got that? You're up to speed there?
Yeah, that's brilliant. I can hear myself a bit on the speaker.
I'm fine. I'm hearing you. It's okay.
Great.
All right. Then I want to now combine another thing. You like the Edda. You like the runes. You like the Norse mythology. And I want to now tie in another aspect. So we've got Christianity we've brought in. We've got Islam we've brought in. I'm going to bring in some of the other religions shortly, and we're fighting, and it doesn't make sense. We've got the wrong end of the stick. They're manipulating us to fight unnecessarily. So what if the Islam religion holds one key to this ziggurat? The Christians hold another key. Another religion holds another key. As a combined force, which I said right in my first video, if you combine all of these, you will start making progress. And the aim at the end of the day is to raise your consciousness. And these are wormholes. These things form wormholes. Let's dig into your, let me go.
Can I ask another question as well? All the holy sites are somewhere like Egypt or on the river where West and East would have met for the first time. So all these
Western world?
Yeah, when the Western world would have met the Muslim world, the Christian world. So is this when they both met and they put the knowledge together and created these monuments? Because you don't get like you know what I'm saying, like the pyramids. This is somewhere that the Europeans would have come ashore, met the Muslims or whoever, or Jewish people, whoever was there. They would have combined knowledge and started building these. Do you think that's what it is? Do you think it's about all combining the knowledge?
The way to control anybody is to divide and conquer. That's the principles they've used. But the creators of these monuments...
Who do you mean by they? Do you mean
our ancestors, the Agarthans, the 12 clans.
To divide those.
Each have they all are, I call them our ancestors. For different people, so not one race of the humans has ownership of all 12. We've got different of the 12 guys, each one had a little piece, and let's take it a kitchen tea party, and 12 women got together and they decided to make a cake, and each one is adding in their part. But sometimes what you'd find is, again, with astrology, it's divided into 4 parts. You'll realize that you've got 4 key players, and they would have in turn divided it up. But remember, we've got more than just 4 different species of human. So when you speak of the East coming together and the West, we're talking of they separated the human species, the divide and conquer system. We need to realize in raising our consciousness that we should combine all these and stop fighting, stop arguing with each other, stop having such dogmas. And when you start realizing you combine these energies, we will ourselves start finding secrets to what's actually going on to get to God, if you want to call it that.
It's hard though when each religion teaches the people that they're the chosen people and that they're above all the other people. So there'll never be peace without religion. With religion about, will there?
What happens is the people who are on the grassroots level, none of us actually want wars. None of us. So you have to question the people in the hierarchy in charge of these. Why are they promoting or maintaining the separatism? At grassroots level, none of us want to go to war. None of us want to fight each other. But yet somebody who has the control, the power, they decide we'll go to war against the other one, yet nobody of the human level actually wants to fight. So we have to start questioning who actually is in control. And then we tend to blindly believe our leaders. You have to start questioning if none of us want to fight, and at the end of the day, a good example is, I've heard this said a number of times, if there's a child in the road in danger, doesn't matter what color the child is, and it doesn't matter what color the women are who are standing on the side, they will not separate or be opinionated about saving that child. Yet the masculine energy is now going to create another story. So you have to start realizing that the humans, it doesn't matter on the feminine energy. We do not want to fight with each other. And male and female, men and women have got both masculine and feminine energy within. We need to look more in wanting to get the higher consciousness. We need to use our feminine energy, our moon energy, our psychic energy, and combine with others. Take the good out of other philosophies. As I said, the Islam is about purification. Christianity is about connecting, making that contact, making that connection with God.
And sacrifice as well. Could be sacrifice as well, couldn't it?
I don't want to go down the sacrifice route, but the point is we're all trying to get that connection.
Yeah.
So Islam is about purifying yourself to make that connection. Christianity is trying to make that connection. Tibetism is also, we're trying to reach that higher place.
Yeah.
So what is this? And then the ruling powers have separated us. That's divide and conquer. We have to realize if we want to win, and we want to win as a human species, we're going to need to get rid of our masculine aggressive energy. I'm not saying permanently, I'm saying for this purpose. And we're going to need to put in our feminine psychic energy. And that's where I've got those vortices. You can see those vortices that are formed. We're going to need to look. So it doesn't matter which religion or culture we are. Let's just start looking at what others are doing and what secrets do they hold. As I said, that step pyramid, the ziggurat, is that the Kaaba that we see on top of the Muslims? What do they hold, and why have they got one level or that ultimate top level? And then that top level in actual fact is divided into further parts. But the thing is, keeping us separate, none of us are actually going to be able to put it together to actually make this connection to reach God, whatever you want to call it.
I did have a question, but it's asking.
Yeah.
It was about. I'd like to talk to you about food, because I take it you're a farmer, aren't you?
Yes.
I'd love to do a session about food if you'd like that.
Yeah, food.
Because a lot of people about vaccinations and stuff like that,
Oh,
what they do to, because your friend Ernst was talking about milk and then the chemicals they put in milk and stuff. So you'd be great, because it's very rare you get to talk to a farmer, you know, who actually deals with all this.
Yeah, it's not just milk, but all your organic vegetables, all your natural vegetables. Try and eat natural. There is a reason why they are poisoning us with our own food. About a year ago, I think it was, maybe a bit more than a year ago, they did a test as to why some of the babies in America in one particular state were being born with half brains. The actual skull wasn't fully formed. The brain wasn't fully formed, and they tried to find out what was the root cause here. What was it? Some medication that the mothers had been given? Was it some pesticide in there? They didn't know what it was, and they eventually found out that the nutrition in the food was inadequate to develop that child or that fetus's skeletal structure. and its brain. So the food is now designed to kill you. You have to start growing your own food. You have to start taking care of yourself with natural, real nutrition, not watered down nutrition as told this is very nutritious and it's been supplemented. Why do you need to supplement natural food? It's illogical.
Also, I used to do security. Can you turn your speaker down a little bit? It's repeating. Sorry.
Okay.
That's better. I used to do security, and I used to go to food processing plants all over the country. You know, on the gate, and everyone I went to, it seemed to just be full of. I'm not being racist or anything, but just foreign people. You know, basically like Polish or people who didn't speak English. Is that a way of getting away with not knowing what's in the chemicals and stuff? And because if they're all foreign people who work in these food processing plants, there's less chance of it getting out to the English people, because you know they're not going to talk to as many English people as. Like if it was a load of English people working there, as soon as something went wrong, everyone would know about it. You know, if they found out something. But
that also explains the speed at which they fire and hire people.
And I've got another theory as well. They like to bring in a lot of undocumented migrants and stuff like that. Is that another way of so no one knows they're going missing? Are they using these people for food sources or something like that?
Yes, but remember, they want the children. You got to look at the children that go missing. So yes, the adults are there, but it's more the children you want to look at. The reason that if only children went missing, a lot more questions would be asked. But the fact that adults go missing, or in these bizarre circumstances, we tend to not question so much. You should question everything.
But if there's an undocumented migrant or immigrant, whatever you call them, in your country, whoever they left behind, it's not like they've got they can just phone them, or you know they're in contact by email or whatever. Some of these countries have come from it might have been a little village in the middle of nowhere, and they've come to here now. They don't know if they go missing in this country, and they won't have no friends in this country. So, is that a way for them to make a lot of people go missing?
Yeah, it's a way not just to go missing. Yes, to go missing, but also the fact that they are illegal immigrants. A lot of this information, because they're not legal, and yet this illegal immigrant story keeps getting pushed, and they somehow manage to get in. No, they don't somehow manage to get in. They are allowed in purposefully. The authorities purposefully don't manage to trap them all, because they know that if those people are illegal immigrants in this so-called land of milk and honey, that they are not likely to talk if there's something going on, because the little bit of money that they're getting, they are not going to then talk and blow the whole situation, expose it.
And it also goes about they love, they know people in fear will work harder. So they know any minute they can get taken home, so they'll work harder because they're that scared of it, you know.
And then we start arguing, like I'm explaining, the different religions. We're now, oh, well, that's your religion, this is my religion, you're wrong, I'm right. But yet I'm saying, if you want to start looking at these vortices and you want to start looking at getting to other places, we better start learning, we better unite and not necessarily accept what our leaders have told us.
So do you think these people are being offered to the reptilians? Do you think we feed them as to our leaders, you know, keep them happy and swap technology for food?
It's a very sensitive point you're going on to, and I do not know if I want to answer that right now, because as I say, I want to develop a bit more of a base to explain to people, yes, they're being fed to these people, and not just the reptilians. There's more than one species that we are being fed to. They like the taste of our meat, but there are reasons. And it's not okay that we go missing, and there's reasons that we're being eaten. not very pleasant reasons. And what I'm trying to share here is when I'm sharing with you these vortices, they are gates, they stargates, they places to somewhere else, and not everybody is allowed in a stargate. That's another sad issue, and it's unless one raises one's consciousness, you are not going to be allowed to escape the system. So it's very hard, but it is also a personal journey. If we do not raise our consciousness, we will go through the most horrendous torture, the most horrendous suffering. And that's not a pleasant thought, but it is a journey ultimately that we have a job to do. We have a purpose why we're here. And you need to remember, we came from somewhere else. None of us are actually from here. The human rocked up according to Western comprehension. We rocked up here 6,000 years ago. You mean to tell me that if a soul is eternal, what were we doing? Where did we come from before 6,000 years? We came from somewhere else. So we've been put here for a reason, go through a little school lesson, we got to learn something, and then we move on again. But the more we get trapped in this system of materialism, we get lost, we lose our way. That's what the certain religions will talk of the lost soul. We've lost our way, and we get so enamored with this life around us that we forget that that's not the point of life. If you're going to go through a stargate, what are you going to take with you? You're not going to take your money. You're not going to take all your possessions. You're going to take your consciousness. You're going to take your love of humanity, your love of people, your love of community. Because where you come from on the other side, we work together, not one clan or one species. We should learn to unite. There are the dark side. And again, they've got a function. Nothing in this place exists on a single plane. There's always going to be the duality. This story of unity, and I will explain that as well shortly. Unity is not what we understand where it's a single source. That's not unity. That's not source. Source can't begin from one point. That's impossible. It's illogical.
So can you explain how a person would start to raise a consciousness? Does that include meditating?
All right. I got into those vortices and those ziggurats and the pyramid and the Tower of Babel to show people that if we can raise our consciousness, and the fastest way to raise your consciousness, the fastest way, a lot of us want to also get in touch with the Agarthans. The fastest way, I'll give you this piece of this piece of the puzzle. The fastest way to raise your consciousness is to not rely on external authority. The fastest way to raise your consciousness is not to rely on the internet for research, and not to rely on any written subject matter that you find out in the world. The first place to start is inside. So if you've got any question that you want to ask in life, the first place to start is within. Mull it over, meditate on it. Not meditation where we all go and we specifically sit in a certain pose or posture and we meditate, but even just ruminate, think, just contemplate anytime during a day on something that you want to figure out. Don't use any external reference point yet. The fastest way to raise your consciousness is start within and figure it out as far as you can, as much as you can, first by yourself. Once you've got to a point where you've built yourself a certain picture, a mind map, a three-dimensional image, whatever, however you perceive your puzzle being solved, then go and confirm it. Do not use somebody else's authority. Go and confirm it with some internet research. Go and confirm it with some written literature and books. But the point is to start with yourself. Figure out as much as you can and use external materials to confirm, not to authorize. That's the secret to consciousness. Raising your consciousness is you figure it out. What's not told when you raise your consciousness, if you think about it, who's feeding you the information? My friends, your people from the other side are feeding you the information. They are far more knowledgeable than what we have here on Earth.
Is this another way that the elite have controlled us as well, by making people not believe their own thoughts, making people think that that's stupid, they can't think for themselves?
That is part of dumbing down the consciousness, yes. So the first place to raise your consciousness, the fastest way to raise your consciousness, is to work out the pieces yourself. And why? Because material reference points relate to the surface only. This literature and information we have does not relate to other worlds. How many of us, if we go and search on the net, can describe what's going on other planets conclusively? NASA is like, well, iffy, we're not sure, theoretical. However, if you make contact with the other side, these guardian angels, these guides, these beings, whatever you want to call them, if you start making that connection with them by speaking to yourself, speaking within, and working out the pieces of the puzzle, they will feed you the information. That's the whole secret. We want to rely on an external source instead of relying on what we have inside. And again, what can you take in a vortex? What can you take in a black hole? If you had to uplift yourself today and we could move through a black hole, what would you take? You'd take what you have physically on you. You're not going to take a rucksack with everything, because we do not know what we need on the other side. So it's pointless. You need your consciousness. You need your love.
Is there any books that you'd recommend, Holger?
Andrew, again, what I say, use books as a secondary reference point, but not as an initial reference point. I would say, to raise your consciousness, you want to learn to trust the unseen, or you want to learn to trust the other side far more than you want to learn to trust this physical world around you.
So are they more trustworthy? They don't lie to you? Is that just the whole truth, what they tell you? Because we hear about the demons and stuff. I mean, could it not be someone like that telling you?
What I'd like to share with you on that one, I have on my YouTube, when you go into my YouTube and you're going to have a look on my videos that I've liked, go and have a look at a chap called Gnostic Warrior. Gnostic Warrior explains very basically, very simply, what some of those demons are. And you will realize that this poisoning of the sky, this poisoning of our food, these germs, these things, these parasites that they're putting onto us, Gnostic Warrior explains that they will actually commandeer this body, take you over, because for something to break or to take over something, it is very smart in its function. It will penetrate and annihilate, destroy the entire host which it moves into. You could call that possession, but yet possession by a germ, by a parasite, airborne parasite. And then, because when you start getting sick, you start getting delirious. Now, if you start getting delirious, people would say, but he's possessed. Well, what if it's something as simple as a parasite that's caused that person to become possessed? Could it be that simple? Go and listen to Gnostic Warrior. He's got fabulous stuff on there. He's putting out other videos that explain mold. Some people call it parasite, some people call it mold. This is why the Islam faith teaches hygiene, because with hygiene you're more likely to get a clearer picture. Having said that, not everybody on the other side is just good. You've got the two sides, but they're not malicious where they want to destroy you. You smack a kid, or we're not allowed to smack our children today, but if you correct somebody, sometimes that correction is one of the fastest ways to help that person, that being, that child progress. So you don't accept everything. This is the whole point. You've got to use your intellect. Raising your consciousness means get to a point where you can figure things out yourself. But that means getting in touch with the other side, not the material world reference points, not the material authorities, not books, not internet, not those. Learn to trust yourself. That's the point of raising your consciousness.
And do you have to be in total silence by yourself to do this, or can you do it while there's people in the same room?
Yeah, it takes training. Remember, whatever field, let's use a field of which you're, let's call it an expert in. Let's not try and make anybody feel bad, but any field in which anybody has some level of expertise, some level of history that we've run through that level of history. When you started off in the beginning, you had to really focus on it. But as you move on and as you develop months, years down the road, eventually it becomes easier and easier, and you don't need as much focus. So in the beginning, yes, you would need to probably silence yourself, exclude yourself from your company, people that you're with, family that you're with. Sit in a certain room and start developing a habit of being able to anchor that level of being able to penetrate into another world without seeing this world. And that's often why meditation says you'll close your eyes. But meditation doesn't say you close your eyes 100%. Your eyes are closed to 80%. 20%, if you had to look down, you could still see what's going on here. But as for the 80% of which your eyelid is closed, you want to think into that. You want to see into that. And when you can start seeing into that, you can access other realms, other dimensions. And that's how people visualize, or how the greats, they say they want peace and quiet. What they're doing is they're going within. So yes, it takes practice, but if you're well versed and you can think with a busy room around you, you can do it.
So you'd think if people could access this, that every invention in the world would be been invented. Is it hard to do? Is it harder than we think? Like if you wanted to go there and ask for an invention or something like that and make your life easier, you could get that, I assume.
How did these people come up with these wonderful ideas? We know that Nikola Tesla is one of my favorite guys. He's the guy who so-called invented the 20th century. He was in contact with beings from the other side.
Do you think they have to pick you to give you this information?
No. You who are running your site of OOWK, you have a choice who you want to talk with, but you're not going to exclude. Let me go back. The people you choose to take on your site are because they are of your consciousness. Now, there are other sites for other people who have other levels of consciousness. So whoever or whatever you want to create, whatever you want to imagine, whatever you want to invent, whatever original idea you want, that's where the like attract likes principle, like attracts like principle comes in. What you choose to think about, the appropriate person on the other side will step forward and come to you. So it's not that everybody is going to reject you. Those who are of the same consciousness are going to attract that type of consciousness from the other side.
Right. Yeah, it's hard to, because I've never understood it, but you explain it so well, it makes you understand it a lot better. Because it's like, I bet you, how did you come across this, and can you tell us about your first experience when you first meditated and you actually did something like that? What did you think? Was you scared, or?
To hear voices or to see things is frightening if your parents do not guide you. Because you need somebody in this physical world to say, hey, but it's okay, it's not so bad. But we need to go deeper than that. As I said, if you think about it, the soul is eternal. If we come from somewhere else, we have seen some really strange and bizarre things that the little we see today shouldn't be so scary. However, the horror movies are playing against us. The horror movies are making us believe that the out there is really bad. In your dreams or in your meditations, you will sometimes see some of the most nasty things out there, but have any of them actually physically attacked you? Remember, we're going back to parasites as well. Now, parasites, you could say that somebody's going mad because something's troubling him. But what if that's because the brain is being eaten by something else? Get that out of the way. And if we look at these things on the other side, just because it's got teeth doesn't mean it's bad. So again, we have to learn to trust or go with our guides who would say to us, don't go there or go there. You need to develop that consciousness, that relationship with people on the other side. Go some journey, develop some journey that you can learn. No, this guy I can trust. This one, he's a trickster. He's screwing with me. So it takes a bit of effort to walk this path. You're not going to do it overnight. It goes on quite long, but yes, okay, maybe what you should do, Andrew, is maybe make it a short piece like this, but I want to talk about these vortices and these stargates and share with people this information so that they can actually start questioning what life is all about.
Yeah.
And maybe start having a bit of hope and having a better outlook on life. Yeah. They are open to us, but the authorities out there are keeping us separate. The divide and conquer method is what is our biggest downfall, and we're listening to it. We need to bypass that and realize, but don't be so dogmatic towards everybody else. Use these different arts, use the different, as I said, I'm an astrologer, but use the runes, use numerology, use the Kabbalah, use the tarot, use as many different sciences, as many of the Hermetic sciences as you can, combine them, and those will give you the gates. Those will show you the gates.
Brilliant, brilliant. So next time, do you want to speak about Stargates again?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I'm going to. Yeah. So what I've got.
I liked what you did with the screen sharing as well. That was good, so people can see what you're actually talking about. And
yes, it helps to see it in picture format. What people don't realize, and this is where I would get into with the with Agartha, we don't understand what's going on with Agartha. That pyramid or that crystal palace in Agartha is one of the keys. We're so intrigued because we're watching these alien movies that the media and Hollywood puts out, that we're not looking at the right place. We're missing the actual real focal point, which should be that glass pyramid in Shambhala, that crystal palace.
Can you just paint a picture for us what it looks like in Agartha? Like, just little details. Have you actually been there?
No.
In your
In my mind, yes.
Yeah, in your mind, yeah.
If you want to understand what Agartha looks like, go and look at any Tibetan philosophy. Go and look at their. Let me see if I can get a screen share. Yeah, and let's. All right, let me first find the picture and I will. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go out. Maybe. Let's go back.
Because Ernest was talking about being on I can't remember the vessel that you travelled to different dimensions on. Macabre, yeah, I've never heard that before, so I found that fascinating. Yeah.
I will be talking on that. That is part of this talk. I want to share with people the macabre. The macabre directly translated means spirit, light, body.
Yeah, because Holger, it's fascinating, but I like little details, things like that, like the macabre. Like what's your experience of that? And I'd like to go delve into, different aspects and go deeper, if that's okay.
That's part of my talk, and that's what I was sharing with you.
Because I love to know, just little details, I don't know, how they live down there, how do they have laws and stuff like that, or
You have laws, but not laws to govern you. Laws to promote progress, because everybody knows their place. Yeah, we are told that if we get given all this power, we're going to run amok. No, we're not going to run amok. You know, if you get given free water as much as you want, I'm on a farm, so I've got borehole water. Does borehole water, because I get it for free, because I can pump it out of the ground, I can have the windmill that pumps all day long. Am I going to just let that water run to waste? No, I'm not. So the story of where if you give somebody power, they're just going to go berserk. They'll go berserk for a while, and then they will start to realize, but they'll get a bit of a concept as to, you know, it's no good just wasting. So no, people are not controlled there. The law is not to control. The law is to guide, to help people say this is the general direction we're going to take. Yeah, you can see Mount Meru. This is the Tibetan idea or Tibetan concept of Mount Meru. There is this stepped pyramid. This is a bird's eye view. We think it's just a rectangular form, but look at these lines down here. These lines down here tell you this is in a three-dimensional image. So if we can visualize it going up.
It's just in 2D, isn't it? Just a 2D depiction.
Yes, of a 3D image.
Yeah.
So now you've got your little island on which this sits, or the valley, and then you've got around it, you've got the sacred lake, which is what is in Agartha. Agartha, that stepped pyramid, that ziggurat, is built like this. Mount Meru, this describes Agartha.
You can even see the different ecosystems, the snow, the desert, the whatever the red is, that can be like, yeah.
Yes, and there are reasons for that. I'm not going to go into that now, but yes, these describe different areas. Yes. But notice, yeah, you've got something moving up. This is a wormhole. This is a Stargate. This thing here, this whole thing is a Stargate.
Right.
I mean, let's go into, let's see what others we've got. Let's go back a bit here. Let's look at this picture. Okay. Again, let's look at Mount Meru. This is in natural formation, if you want to call it. Look at this, going off to where? Where is this going? Nobody discusses that. We're all so busy involved as to the different aliens, the different beings, because the movies have conditioned us to focus on these scary entities that are going to eat us alive. There's 12 major clans. There's more than 12 clans down there, but there's 12 major clans in Agartha, and they're not all eating each other. But yet we're focusing on who's gonna eat me? Am I gonna be eaten by? Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? They're all working together.
They've got everyone looking up, haven't they, instead of looking inwards.
But look, these guys are going off somewhere.
Yeah.
This is a wormhole.
Yeah. Where do you think that's going? Do you have any idea?
Yes, totally. Let me show you where it's going. Not that one. Where is my picture? Just take out the what's not in here. That's not supposed to.
Fine.
Yeah. That's not what should have happened. It's not in this one. We can go out. Let's see. No, not that one. Not that one. Here we go. No, this is still the wrong picture. Okay, let's go to this one. Let's go into this one. That is where it goes. You know that picture.
Yeah.
That's Yggdrasil, the tree that is in Agartha. There's Asgard, Agartha. And there's the tree, and it reaches to 9 worlds. Let's go back to this picture.
Is there any way we can use this knowledge to our benefit as well, by the way?
That's exactly why I'm giving this talk, is I'm trying to show everybody how to do this.
Oh, right, brilliant. And what would that be? What could we accomplish?
Freedom. Liberation. The philosophies, the Eastern philosophies talk many times of liberation, freedom.
Free energy and things like that.
Free energy, we go beyond that. Free energy, when you get to these places, have got free energy. It's just here on Earth. But we've been put on here on Earth for a reason, just to learn for a time. But until we raise our consciousness, we're not going to get the message or the purpose of why we're here. So we can go off and then go and experience a much more happy life. Look at this, the 9 worlds. I mean, how many worlds is this reaching? This is going off to somewhere. Look at this. I mean, you've got your sun people, you've got your moon people, you've got your earth people here in the south, where we are now. You've got another place over here. This is also described in Tibetan folktales. Yeah, you've got the valley. Yeah, you've got.
Like I say, it looks like an upside down step pyramid, doesn't it? But if you was doing like a pitch from Agartha, that's what it'd look like to you, because it would be upside down. It'd be a cone shape, wouldn't it?
No, yeah, here's Agartha. Yeah. This yellow thing in the middle is Agartha. Here's the valley.
Right.
This is Agartha. Yes, the.
I thought that was the mount in Mount Meru.
Mount Meru.
Yeah.
Yes, that's Mount Meru, or that is the Crystal Palace.
Right.
Then you get into a wormhole and you move off into other places.
Yeah.
So this goes beyond. This is Agartha. Let's call this Agartha. Get into that wormhole and you move off to elsewhere. And that's why I say everybody's so focused, or a lot of people, when I first heard about Agartha, I thought, oh, let's go to Agartha and let's live here. But there's stuff beyond that. Agartha is the let's call it the hub to move out.